I think. In the mix as well, ready to match the aesthetics here and around and on Town and City. Remember, you got the moving platforms, you got the three-piece. Let's go ahead and get into it.
I do love the evolution of Town and City because you do get the switch up. You get the 3 platforms, you get 1, you get 2. You have basically a full variety mode to have to start things off. And as well, match the theme. Now, Ganondorf this time around, he's a bit more spry than he was back in the day. He was F tier way back when he first came around. Now the dude has at least like 2 extra movement. It pays off, especially the way we're seeing it right now.
I think right now you're going to be very, very comfortable. Nice, perfect block, though. Perfect parry to go ahead and give yourself a nice little chance out, but waiting for the dash in from the side B. But no full commits here. What a tag, though. The last little tip of that strike hitbox is so good there, but a final punt brings stock number 1 to a close, and that will go ahead and put Alicio up 1.
Ganon's heel is just its own living being. It has a hitbox that's just a mile wide, about as big as Kirby in its entirety, and in 2 strikes, 35%. It's long, it's slow, it's very telegraphed, and yet if you do not make your way in reading through them, it will be
what a read!
Goodness. Woo!
That read was brutal, by the way. Saw the fastball from the Kirby, said, I know what you're going to do. You're not going to land on the ground. And you almost read it again with that smash, but this time well called out by Declan. You say, no, you don't want to deal with that one. Hopefully I'm saying the name right, and make sure to give them their just dues because they are here in the grand finals of the ASAA Super Smash Bros. Ultimate Championship. What a dive, though. And that is Alicio to finish it off in style. Game 1 goes their way.
That basically was 3-0. That was a dip, dive, duck, and take you down situation out of Alicio. Wow. Very well practiced, very well measured, and very, very dangerous on a Ganondorf. You had mentioned that a Kirby's a tough customer to have, well, I guess Ganondorf's a tough customer, and Kirby's the one running the delicatessen to have to serve this monstrosity that wants, I guess, a quadruple decker sandwich. And you have to be able to cut and run. You can't let a lot of these longer, especially even though Ganon takes a long time to kind of wind up, I felt like that the read of the player behind the old screen was getting in the head of Kirby. And that was clinical to start off our first set.
Oh, easily. And here's the deal. It goes even beyond that. When we talk about Kirby has a little bit of a faster character, Ganon's windups are ridiculously long. If anyone's played against it, you know you can outspeed most of the time. You get a lot of the combos down, there's a reason. And as you called, the mind games were in place. Now, if I'm taking a look at game number 2 here, I'm curious. The stage wasn't the issue. I honestly think Declan, and I'm going to try and double check and make sure the name's right. I want to make sure Declan is able to find a good character. I would take out any of the swords, any of those possible, sword masters as well. Try and bring it to get inside, and that way you can fight a little bit more. But the Kirby just sometimes has a reach, but it's in very minute situations. You need to have a little bit longer range. You need to have a little bit of beef behind, or you can shut down Ganon's kind of brusque attitudes. And you're not trading 50-50. You're trading 100-0.
You really are. And it's not like Declan isn't unfamiliar with how a Ganondorf works. They played it 6 times out of the 32 games that they actually played across this season. So they're very well aware of what has to happen. So as we go into our next stage selection, I got to wonder, you kind of mentioned having a little bit of extra meat on the bones to be able to handle this. It'd be funny as heck to see a Ganon v Ganon. I don't think we're going to get that in this timeline, but maybe an alternative one. It does look like we're actually sticking with the Kirby. I respect it. This is actually the first matchup, at least between players, that happened the last time the Cardinals and the Eagles in this bird fight matched up. Declan's going to stick to the guns, stay on that Kirby, see if they can do a little bit of extra kiting against the old big, I guess, what's the Triforce power that Ganon has? It's courage, wisdom. Is it just power?
It's straight up power, I believe. I believe it's just straight up power. It's just, give us the strength, give us the room to work with, and I think the Ganon's going to do it. So Ganondorf right now, right back in the mix. We're going over to Kalos Pokemon Stadium, though. A little bit different here. Platforms fully out to the side, and you do have a link to kind of ride up on the end as well. The edges actually provide a lot of safety, and you can actually draw in. I believe the Ganon has a wall jump that you can use if you get tossed off and you want to kind of take a little bit of a deeper dive. But the Kalos stage specifically, the main thing is the platforms are out very wide, so the Kirby has to be very, very careful. If you're up on those platforms, that's pretty much doom and gloom at about 30 to 40%. Those knockoffs can be painful.
Do you know what they called the down special for good old Ganon? And it's crazy because this dude is like, if a wizard class put all their points into strength, it's called Wizard's Foot.
Ooh!
But you're seeing him go 70 to nada because my man was stunned out.
Yeah, well, actually, he got tapped out of his up B, and there wasn't any hope out of his second jump, so really, really well played. Coming out here from Declan, but that's the foot to the face. Going ahead and punching very, very well right there. And now it's a stock to stock. But again, remember, just a couple quick taps and already you're at 42. You have to be careful to Kirby, not liking where they're currently positioned, and already you're looking for that finisher. Quick Wizard's Punch if you can. Electricity stunning you out a bit, but a great little twirl, but I'll have to let you go. A little bit of a read back, and right now, Alicia just waiting for that one final hit. 73% is more than enough to take it away. Quick dodge aside. Back here, not going to land. Quick shields come out here. No grab, but a shocker down. Straight to the ground. Once again, the down air is so powerful at the right time.
Really using that insane range that you get on that big blade, and they're trying to force this to have to be kind of a retraction back. You're going to have a great recovery now as they take the lead just momentarily. The final cutter trying to come up on the stage. That was very dangerous. Oh, they're looking for the down smash, but instead they get the big boot, and this will be a turn of the lead.
And again, a lot of Ganondorf abilities, a lot of their strikes are basically finishers in their own. Even the tilts, you saw it right there. It hurts to watch. And coming out here for Declan, there's only so much you can do. Another stock hemorrhage though, as you were tapped out of your second jump, and now you're looking for that Gus. One of Kirby's inhales. One of the easiest ways to grab a free stock if you can. Quick little twist forward air is going to work, but there's a grab toss down, almost an overhead, but it's only up to 31%. Again, it's going to come down to one meat hit to another up air. Once again, down B, not going to land for the Ganondorf though. And Alicia, what can you do? Quick chase and a fireball. Opportunities abound here. You're going to miss though. The Kirby has an opportunity. Quick up B. You're not going to find a shoulder charge though, making it work. Rock is there, and you dodge in the air just at the perfect time. Come on, Kirby, we want to see a win, but it might not happen just yet. Up air. Gonna knock the Kirby all the way off. A quick dash over on the side. And it is going to be the foot not meeting. Are you going to get the smash? We're still waiting for that final blow. There it is. Forward air for the Kirby as Declan brings it to a 1-1.
Man, that was beautiful. Look, that had me on a wild roller coaster ride there, Orbital, because the beginning of that game seemed like to be a completely different foray from what we saw at the beginning of the set. Things slowed down. You saw a great use of general range when it came to being underneath the outside platforms on Kalos, and that's one of the most dangerous positions that if you're going to try and play from the thinness that you're standing upon, because Kirby doesn't really have I mean, you got the brick, and otherwise you're going to have to set up greater combos to deal with that. But no, at the pixel perfect range to really make use of that, I was starting to see that one twist. Alicia was definitely kind of driving in with that Ganondorf. But late term, I was getting the tiniest bit frustrated. I started to be like, all right, I'm criticizing perfection at this point, because they were floating them, short hopping, using their down A's to be able to really get a lot of those great kicks and just bumping them aside. But then they interjected so many final cutters, and I was like, this is starting to hurt him. But he did not let up that barrage.
Yeah, and one of the big parts as well is those little taps actually do a lot of work. There's a reason actually we saw it go down to the last stock apiece, is Alicia actually lost double jump multiple times. I believe in the two stocks that they lost in the originality, they got knocked out of the double jump. They just kind of had to fall down, and that's one of the side effects. But you're talking about that chip damage. Well, the chip damage doesn't actually give a huge boot. It just denies a little further jumps. So it was a difficult stance for the Ganondorf to have, and Alicio has to recognize that at the current moment, you can't allow some of the stocks to kind of fall to the wayside like that. You have to be able to stay center stage. You have to recognize that I personally think Declan is going to be looking for those free stocks once you dive off the side. So almost this time around, I wonder if Alicia is going to play more towards the center stage, more towards that kind of safety value. We have gotten word it's run it back time. Ganondorf once again against the Kirby.
I mean, he did it the very first game, but since then, we're starting to see the evolution and adaptation that is coming out of Declan. I mean, this is the first matchup that happened the last time that these two met, but it was a Mr. Game & Watch in lieu of a Ganondorf. He's actually, in terms of his total composition that he's played, this is his second most played character. So considering that he's kind of walking into much more power, wants to take advantage of a squishy little pink marshmallow and see if he can kind of get it done and kind of 1, 2, 3 strikes. He was doing it very well, but you cannot discount the response and speed that's been happening. PS2, well, where we walk into for what is the final game of our first set. Remember, it's best of 5 of best of 3 sets, so we got a long way to go, but this first duel is coming to a climax.
Yep, and I like the stage. Once again, main difference from Kalos is you're going to look at a little bit further sidebars. The range that you got to KO off the sides is just a wee bit farther, which I think will benefit the Kirby quite a bit. The ceiling is still pretty dang high, though. But of course, with those platforms in center stage now, you got to play a little bit more verticality if you so wish. But I love that Declan is starting to show a lot of spice here. Quick wall charge here, as it is going to be a foot stomp! I talked about the ceiling height. Apparently, Ganondorf doesn't care.
Bro playing kickball does not give a darn, and that's exactly what you got to do. Get the Wizard's Foot, especially after getting 2 successive flame chokes. Not just to be able to assert some extra damage, but also be able to get some of that distance cut down back onto corner stage. Job well done, and they are bringing this hands 50% bonus damage. Fantastic dodge. You get a nice dash out of Declan. He's got some work to do though. Final Cutter may drop himself away, but he's starting to make reads on that big blade.
Yep, has to make sure that you don't allow yourself kind of that space above the platform. Fast fall, though, and again, the down and from the Kirby sniping another stock away. And it feels like these are kind of just small mistakes here. KCHS smash for Alessio. You got to get this under control if you want a chance at victory, if you want to kind of take this one back in your own power. Quick shoulder check, though, once again, putting that Kirby in a really dangerous spot. And you can see Declan making sure to not allow this Kirby to kind of get punished on the side, but a side B not going to land again. A little bit of a fireball. And it seems like Declan's starting to get a much better handle on this.
He's getting some range tactics happening. They're both trying to dodge that down A situation. You bring the next foot, and they actually find a counter. Big dash. That's actually been read very well now recently by Alessio, as he's seeing how much of that stage is being dominated by it. Trying to dodge away again from it. He uses his up B. Can't quite recover. It's not a great vertical recovery, so this will be a lead change one more time. The good news, though, for Alessio is at 117 against them.
Of course, another perfect pair. We've seen that done before. It does so well. And again, for Declan, you're just hunting for that inhale, but it's not going to work this time. Good shoulder check again. 136 down to the last stock apiece. And for Alessio, you're just playing and praying that you don't get caught off the stage end. Quick little jabs, just trying to find small marks, and that's the best way to do it. Front kicks for style. Forward airs doing some work off the ledge. Once again, that cutter that you mentioned before doing so much work to force back to neutral. 63 though, and counting. A quick little jab contest here. It looks like the Kirby might have it. Shield out again, and an up air. Get some good damage down again on this Ganondorf.
He's aiming for a shield break. He is definitely forcing this one to have to go to Declan, just kind of forcing his way through, but he's going to get a dash 111%.
You're
looking for kill country. Can't recover, and that's it. Reverse sweep of this BO3 goes the way of Declan Ledoux for West Anchorage Eagles. They'll be taking first win here in our first set.
I was not expecting that at all. Very well done by Declan. A lot of those late hits, those last little hits that came in, very comfortable. And again, very speedy. I think a really nice thing that you did is, again, you didn't step down from the challenge. And again, in this game 3, I was very impressed. Declan, I mentioned that a lot of the stocks that Alessio gave in game 2 felt a little bit off. It felt like, Alessio went a little bit too far, and all of a sudden, the stock dropped. This time around, a lot more controlled, I think, from Declan, a lot more measured, and made sure not to allow themselves to get punched off stage too often. Really nice, refined movements afterwards. Well played to West Anchorage.
I'm wondering if we're just going to see the same players kind of going at one another into this next matchup, because the last time round it then was Boyd versus Sam. So both those players still present, and maybe Blake is kind of being held as an anchor. Wondering a lot about that. That was Boyd onto the Incineroar last time, and Samuel, well, they went with someone similarly named on a Samus. So gotta stick with your namesake, right? But I wonder how much of that sticks, because the best or the biggest thing that changed was Alicio. They faded away from what was their most played character to, a couple games behind onto the Ganondorf. They're sitting more with power away from the Mr. Game & Watch. And I thought the versatility of changing that to a game number 3, maybe they'll bring them back for late term in the series if it gets that far, maybe a 4 or 5. It feels kind of weird to kind of bench one of your mains, but maybe that's just the feel, the vibe, the flow. Well, we'll figure out who's going to be coming up next. Actually, we already know. All right, so it's the slightest difference as Sam will be going against Kaizen. Kaizen's back in the rotation? Okay.
Ooh, okay. So this is something they kind of mentioned. There were some kind of shakeups moving into the playoffs here, I believe, for KCHS. The Cardinals had a couple members kind of shifted around here, and Kaizen was on their main roster during the playoffs, or during the regular season, now coming back in these playoffs, stepping in, filling the shoes as sees fit. I'm very curious if that's what they need to kind of step up. Again, they went 8-0 in the regular splits, and this is, I believe, with Kaizen in the mix.
Yeah, and we will be also seeing a Cloud and a Samus. So you have the big combinations, obviously, that get posted by Cloud. I had mentioned before, Cloud is kind of like giving an extra bigger blade to a Kirby at times, depending on how you want to combo out of them. And then a Samus, look, Samus is as ornery and as tool-filled as a Link. You have a lot of bombs, you have the ability to have a good recovery, you have a lot of immediate damage, especially off of some fast and slow rockets. You can kind of change the pace. You also give yourself a nice zoning if you have to kind of down B special your way back to the ground. So a lot of, and the obvious blaster. Like, if you let that build up, I mean, me and the Lucario gang out there, we know about trying to be able to build up your blaster as best you can, but this one's built on technology, and we're going to see if it hits as we go to set number 2. Eagles trying to keep this momentum rolling.
Yeah, and I think they're going to be able to pull it off, of course, but we have to watch and see. Kaizen can be that mainstay difference. The Cloud is out hopping all around and immediately eats a lot of damage. Again, for a Samus, I think a big thing is starting off with a little bit of fast pace, but at the same time, kind of testing the waters. How often is the Cloud going to jump in? How often are they going to try and challenge me as I charge up? How often can I get away with some of these combinations? Really nice trades. Back and forth, neither really shielding appropriately, so instead, both just hard aggressing, which I really like.
You also have the long distance grab, which really plays into kind of a change up mixture. I mean, you do that, you're able to immediately up special as well, and it's so much sudden damage. It doesn't quite get kill confirmations as best as I want, but it definitely makes life difficult, especially when you're stunned off the electricity. That's going to be huge already, and they're building up into that limit breaker as first stock goes the way of KC.
Yeah, first limit didn't really bring anything, but reading that up B well, that is one of Samus's more rough situations. If it doesn't land, if it lands against a shield, you're pretty much doomed from the start. So using that up B so late as a ticker for damage, not exactly what you want to see. And right now, Kaizen already expanding into this fight, getting the juggle, looking for one more if you can, already at 119 on the Samus's life. And contrary to what it might look like, Samus is actually fairly light, even with all that armor on. So you have to play a little bit safe and a little bit smart. You can already hear Cloud calling out here. What a blast of the Wind Blast doing work. On a 139, both are just one hit away, but a stock difference leading to Kaizen having that opportunity.
He's having to play a separate mini game to make the distance cut down, and then as soon as he gets into close quarters combat, has to deal with the up special. That is wild. You have to go through a missile, you have to go through an extra bomb, you have to go through an electronic boom, and then as soon as you put at least one down, you get caught with. Oh, they actually block him. They can't catch the edge because of the bomb, and that will reset them down. But one good turn deserves another.
Yep, that is how you answer. And again, whenever it comes out of the invulnerability, it's one of those moments where you do have about 3 seconds, and making use of that, making sure that you punish a player it's such an appropriate turn. And now, once again, it is all in favor of Kaizen. Kaizen stepping in here could be taking this one with 2 stocks left to bear in a very convincing game number 1. But of course, a little bit of an answer back, trying to get them a little bit low, reading the up air, or reading the hop instead. Still waiting to see what Samuel is able to do. Is Sam is able to make this a magic occur. Back here, though, from Kaizen, swinging hard. Looking for a little bit more as it's already 96, and a down air to spike the Samus.
just getting caught right in the middle of that cross slash. Don't want to have to deal with that wave of energy, and they're just now kind of spamming it out. Not too much, but just enough to keep you honest. And that's the Kirby move, by the way.
Ooh.
And it will end exactly like that. You catch them on the tip of it, and you throw them asunder. So, good work. Done here as Kaizen will be able to get the Cardinals at least back in control.
It was a very good controlling piece, but keep in mind, this is exactly how match one went. One game win by Alicio, and then everything kind of went downhill, and it was a very convincing win as well. We have to give credit where credit is due. We saw Alicio take a very commanding game number one with Ganondorf, and everything kind of fell apart. But I also feel like Cloud has way better recovery. One of the things that we could criticize about a Ganondorf, as soon as you go off stage, things go south. Now, sitting here with the Cloud, you have great variability. You have great stage get back. There is no problems there. So honestly, I could see this floating out into Kaizen's favor as they're looking to kind of rewrite the ship.
It does feel like there's an accomplishment of good zoning play generally from Samus, or rather, well, from Sam overall, Sam on Sam, as they definitely made life difficult to have to find some of at least use for that limit break, and both these characters have to build up into basically a meter. One puts basically their energy away into their cannon. The other one's like, cool, this is about to be the neatest thing you've ever seen. And, God forbid we summon a literal deity to have to deal with that. But the problem is that it felt like, all right, the bullet hell that you put them through, missiles, lasers, bombs, everything was navigated very, very well by Kaizen to be able to kind of deal with this. We go on to, good old solid small battlefield. See if this one can be slowed down, but Cardinals would love to be able to tie up the Sears, and so would Kaizen.
And I feel like this actually leads into Sam's wheelhouse a little bit more. One of the things with Town and City is that platform in the middle actually shifts every so often. It's hard to kind of dance around it. With small battlefield, these platforms are relatively low hanging, meaning you can hop up to them really, really quickly and get the damage down, especially for that forward air. For Samus, you're liking those platforms to mess around as much as possible, especially also for just like right there, you go ahead and get a quick tap. But of course, right now, Kaizen is finding the better of the trades, making sure to get those forward airs as much as possible, even chasing into the short blast. Very comfortable with them.
I love the speed rockets that we're also seeing a lot more utilization of. You have to create some level of separation. They're getting Kaizen to have to walk into their up special, and it's super powerful if you go the full way and the full rotation. Now they are building to about 2/3 of their full limit breaker, and you don't want to be caught in the middle of that one. As they do that up slash, they get caught at least into a medium build, and now that should just nearly be done. They want to get them on the way down.
Ooh.
Nice big boot of the armored weapon. And that should be able to be first stock, but they might want to be able to get this one straight off rip.
I mean, if they can, it evens things out, but right now, if you are the Samus, if you're Sam, you're saying, okay, let's look for extra damage, and so far, you've already found it. A quick full charge blast into a forwarder, into another, brings it to 45, and this is setting up the stock very, very neatly. There's the up air that you wanted, or the up tilt, I should say. It gives a comfortable piece. Now, once again, we've seen Kaizen be able to bring this back very, very convincingly. We've seen them fight from higher percentages, and they're willing to actually trade out their percentages to get some back. But right now, you're at 99-101. This is feeling like the side of the Eagles know how to play from behind.
Definitely do, and unfortunately, they were trying to be able to predict onto that limit breaker as well. They're using that big wave slashes. They're getting caught from behind, 111 damage. That flamethrower is not going to be anything that confirms it, but again, another big down strike will get this one at least into a current lead. That's going to be great for big landed strikes, and they're trying to do it. Look, every single time that we get Kaizen back onto the map just after losing their stock, they bring the hurt locker.
I mean, this locker, it's getting smaller and smaller. Of course, quick grab comes out here, and it feels like for right now, Kaizen is starting to find the answer that they've needed. But a quick tag, again, 16% and then some. You need to finish the stock off quickly, though, but a nice up air, able to create a little bit of space. We talked about how this up air is kind of a gamble in there, but the gamble is on the limit break. Breaks them up with that neutral B comfortable blast there.
Fantastic finishing touch. They put all 7 of those blades from the Buster straight through. Fantastic dodge. They will get up 1. All right. continuing to get him with the Clem Hazard if they can. A nice wave. That was full power as well. 42% and climbing, as this one has been cut now to a distance that's feasible to go 2-0. It was looking like it was promising for the Cardinals to force this into a game number 3 of this second set. Can't quite get them through the fire and the flames. The early flamethrower. If they do not get this read, I see this one switching around, but Kaizen is now suddenly up into 106.
I mean, this is that damage source. Now you have to play on the tip of the iceberg. A nice full charge blast, but it doesn't really have much knockback. Oh my god, the bomb to forward smash. Might have had it, but there's a slash and a half. It's not gonna finish though. Still plenty of time. Up air. One more time. Forward slash is available. And it looks like the Cloud is chancing, but there's the punch. The smash to finish it. Well done to Sam.
For all the gadgets and gizmos aplenty, who's its and what's its galore, and thingamabobs, they've got plenty. All the fire, all the bombs, all the electricity, and they're like, you know what? These hands were made for war. They were made for fighting, metal to flesh, and a big back punch to be able to get Kaizen off stage. You said that the Cardinals were great at playing from behind. They didn't give us a lot of hope until the very last second. My goodness, what nerve Sam had to be able to force us now game 3.
And I love every single moment of it. The fact that it feels like this is their MO. Right now, it's been KCHS to go ahead and grab one game. And it's like, hey, they look good on it. And then for some reason, it feels like the Eagles claw back. They're saying, hey, we're here to fight and we're ready to battle it out. It works great. It very comfortably works out for them. And now for the ASAA Grand Finals, for a chance at putting the first seed into a hole, all Sam needs to do is win one more.
Those blade beams are McNasty. I mean, you have to deal with basically everything being thrown out of like the Samus kind of arsenal overall. But I mean, you've seen a lot of good worth coming out of Kaizen's Cloud. That is a very dangerous sort of character to have to deal with. But the problem right now, you just saw your teammate go down much the same way. Alicio fighting from kind of a little bit of change up in the methodology from away from a Mr. Game & Watch to Ganondorf. Maybe hubris, maybe just testing the waters. But here's what can't be tested. If you go down 0-2 in this series, it's going to be even worse for you. So we're going to go to big battlefield. We got 3 platforms. We got a lot on the line. Can the Cardinals unlock, or rather, can the Eagles unlock match point?
Oh, wow. And already a nice little opener coming out. But, of course, it's answered right back. Sam with first touch, bringing it to about 36%. Of course, how much more are you going to get? Great control here, and reading those platforms. Another thing about these platforms, it can cause a little bit of disjointness when you go for those fast falls, when you go for those up airs on either side, by the way. But these tags, I don't know what's going on, but all of a sudden, it feels like Samuel said, I understand now. I understand now, and it is fully in control. Low fall not gonna be in range, so it's an easy stock take by Sam.
Oh, but again, it's just such great work, especially when they come immediately out of the invulnerability. They have not allowed any extra damage to accumulate, so no bonuses right now for the moment with Sam. They'll get a nice back air and then a flamethrower combination. They zone away from off of the down special, and so they use that bomb to separate. Nice slam. Love the grabs that we're getting out of, especially close quarters combat with them. They're going to bring another short hop back air. You're going to use the speed rocket to catch up with them. You got that lemon break open, but it's already 80% now in bonus. Ooh. And Sam is doing work.
Oh, that's a fast fall, but you actually saved the Cloud, who takes out and is able to save themselves. I feel that was a little bit of hubris right there. And now it's a turn back. All of a sudden, Kaizen sees the lights. That's going to be an up air once again, which has been utilized so many times just to create space and force the Cloud to be a little bit worried. A double tap, though. The bomb is going to create a little bit of havoc here. Small battlefield, giving it a chance to kind of slide back to the ledge. Bomb, though, denied. Shoulder charge, not going to land, and you fast fall again! Yet another uncharacteristic mistake. Kaizen losing us down to the last stock.
Do we go to yet another reverse sweep of this best of 3? We had it the first time. Et tu, Samuel? Can this be accomplished? They throw a big shoulder. 18%, remember, still on second stock. Another flamethrower, massive boot, but that's going to be a nice up strike to be able to at least separate them. The beam blade, or blade beam rather, comes up, and they make another swing. Then another limit breaker might be what's necessary, and they will strike them down. 35 ain't bad.
I mean, this is doable. This is extremely doable, and you already almost even up the score. All of a sudden, it's Kaizen. They answer back with a few boops, and you can feel Samuel almost screaming out, saying, please, not like this. I was so close to taking this one. I had a stock lead. I had the opportunity, but now you're up at about 86%. You can't get hasted, though, and you charge right in to that get-up swing, and the up tilt, again, reaches underneath that shield. You always have to be careful. Quick tap on the up B. Another chance. Falling sword, though, meets in the middle. And both are challenging, but 125 versus 55. This is great work by Kaizen, who steps back up, breath of life of their own. And it's a fall again, but both read wrong. Now a front punch coming out, and the sandwich just needs one good blow. You are praying, but you're one hit away from loss as well. You get to the front stage. My gosh, they're playing with fire on either end.
One little charge, one misstep. They're both playing to the
Oh my
very
gosh.
limit of their shield. That's going to be a shield break if they use it again. Nice back air. They've created some separation. They get him! Oh, and he connects with the missile! What a combination from Samuel! They bring him back from the jaws of defeat, and they claw their way to the top to get this second set. That'll put the Eagles on match point.
Oh my god! I've never seen an anime-esque styling like that. And it was, let's be honest, it came so close. Kaizen was on the cusp of taking that one back. Remember, went from 55% on last stock, tore through one stock, brought it to 137% onto Sam. And yet Sam started to rush, brought it back down to a pace they could digest, caught the cloud napping a little bit, and then the forward air, which has almost no kickback, by the way, has very little launch potential unless at high percentage, able to piece it together with a missile, which I'm going to sit and, you know, give credit where credit is due. I think Sam planned that. I think Sam knew it was going to land a combo off. Don't worry about the sweat that they currently have on the back.
Look, the PC knew it. It was like, hey, wait a minute. This flamethrower only does like 10% damage. Oh, wait, there's a missile. And this, Sam looked at the computer looked at him, and they were like, yes. Job well done out of the Eagles. Now, this is a complete rewrite of the script, especially if you're looking at what's happening out of West Anchorage, because West Anchorage looking fantastic. They're 0-2. They came down into each one of those early sets 0-1, 0-1, and then they brought it back in reverse sweep time. You now have put yourself into the driver's seat. Antonio will be their anchor coming into this third and final set, possibly final if it goes the wrong way. Boyd, I believe, is the one that's going to be coming out for the Cardinals. This perfect squad has to reverse sweep if they intend to truly finish what was not done in the fall when they lost in Game 5 of the semis. They're on pressure point right now. They've got a lot of work to do.
It's revenge upon revenge, it feels like. I mean, you look at the Eagles, and they're sitting here like, this is our greatest moment. We get to take down a squad that beat us in the regular season, a squad that has consistently fought them tooth and nail, and be able to fight back and be able to take the undefeated squad out. I mean, like, this is a squad that is, and I keep saying squad, I mean, the Cardinals deserve a lot of respect, though. At the end of the day, I know it might not seem like it. It might seem like they're the challengers, but they have made it here in first seed position. So I'm sitting here going, man, what do they need? And it feels like they're just getting caught up to each time. As you said, it is Boyd versus Antonio. The Incineroar going up against a Falco on the battlefield as well, which a Falco, I think, will very much enjoy. A lot of platforms, verticality, you're able to kind of juggle that Incineroar if you get things going. This is a big possibility that we could see this Grand Finals end right here.
This is also a player that has played about 20% of their games this spring semester on random. Antonio is nasty. So going into a Falco, you have a lot of side damage. You also have a fantastic, basically, up juggle that you can be able to work into it. But you just need to not get into the hands of an Incineroar. And there's a lot of distance fighting that can be done. And you're seeing the harassment right now.
I mean, that harass is just OP, it feels like. And if I'm sitting there going, hey, how are we going to play this one out for future? I'm already saying I don't want to go to Battlefield if I'm the Incineroar. Absolutely not. The Falco loves any extra platforms to play for. 3-tier versus like a 2-tier side, if that makes sense. And I'm kind of curious, you're not willing to actually step up and fight, which allows the Falco to get some chance, but there's going to be the grab. Nice little rebuttal, though, not allowing that second piece, not allowing the Lariat to cause some problems. And a back air sends the Incineroar flying. Thankfully, you're up high. But what a read! Forward smash into pain, as that is Antonio's answer.
Oh man, Boyd is playing straight into the hands of Antonio. At this point, you are playing kind of diffed, and you have so much kite potential. This is kind of what I was hoping and kind of expecting whenever we had that kind of distance fight happening earlier with the Ganondorf and onto the Kirby. But this is masterclass at this point. 56%. Now you're starting to slowly see these cat-like fiery paws get in. They go for the big grab. Nice dodge in combination between both these. They finally will drop him onto his neck. But this is all bonus and cash. Nice dash to the side. Oh, and they just shove him off.
Spike! It is a day of spikes, even though it didn't feel like a spike. That was a spike. It is frustrating because it happened with the Kirby as well. I don't know if Eagles Smash, if the Eagles are actually planning on this, but all their characters annoy the absolute crap out of these heavies that do not have good recoveries, and they earn so many stocks because of it. And this is such a big turn for the Eagles. They can smell victory in the air. Right now, this is one of their best performing members. Antonio is putting on a clinic right now. And KCHS need to find some hope, need to find their happiness if they can fight back.
This is a player that is stuck in the middle, and they're chasing a bird. Finally, the cat gets a munch onto the squawk of Falco. So as soon as you get paws on him, it's kind of Dunskies, but it's such a rare situation to happen. You have to cut this map to be even smaller. They do it again, able to find him off the layer. Can't quite get that to be able to find its final form. 111%. You're down to final stock, and
no, that's it.
Oh, the recovery just ain't there.
No, it's not. And this breaks the tradition that we've seen before. All of a sudden, we're seeing this little difference of, hey, you know what? Antonio came out with amazing fire. We have to give credit where credit is due. The other ones look so tense. It looks so close. Alicio and Kaizen came out with very strong game ones. And yet, Boyd looked so rough, looked uncomfortable in that matchup.
Now, this is my biggest question. We've got Cardinals. We've got Eagles. Is Falco a Blue Jay?
I'm not going to answer that question because someone that has played Fox Adventures is going to absolutely yell me down. But I wonder if it's a Blue Jay because you're running like one. The speed at which this Falco took control of the entire stage, immaculate work.
Very much so. No, he's a Falcon. Okay, I just never seen a blue Falcon.
Literally, yeah. Falcon. Yeah, someone's gonna chew me out for that one.
I thought maybe they were trying to switch it up on us, you know. But now here's the difference as well. There's been the tiniest stray whenever Boyd was playing throughout the season. He did Incineroar for 19 of his 21 games, and otherwise did Mega Man and Byleth. And I thought maybe considering the distance that was acquired by Antonio onto this Falco, you might change it up right here, especially considering that you got to reverse this entire thing. But that's not what's happening. I feel like this is a misplay, but we've also seen players that literally lost their first game of their set and then reversed. So it's time to tell me your narrative. Is this the end of the story of the undefeated run by the Kenai Central Cardinals, or can they change it up here? We go Final Destination, no platforms. Maybe that'll be a boon.
This is absolutely what I think Boyd was hoping for. You say, hey, no more platforms. You got to face me on the ground, and the horizontal work might be a little bit better. You can close ground a lot quicker. You can use the Larian, but what a spike again! We talk about the hope. We talk about the opportunities. Eagles are saying, no, you are our prey. We deserve this grand finals.
Look. No platforms, no problems here for Antonio. He is bringing the heat, using that side dash to be able to really kind of bait him in, trying to be able to make some of these reads, but it's such long and telegraphed, and it takes forever. They do catch him on the lariat this time around, and nice little poke. Again, no matter what you're doing, you're going to get harassed. You receive the feat, and this bird is baiting him down. He's looking for yet another spike. Can't get it that time.
And the thing is, you're actively playing to deal with the Incineroar in the air. If you can get him below the stage, you pretty much win 9 times out of 10. And that's what the Falco is aiming for yet again. You're pacing out and you're waiting for these big gaps in strikes. One of the big deals with the heavies, again, everyone knows when you play against a heavy, they have large strikes, meaning you can punish them if they miss. But when they connect, they connect. Well taken on one stock. This is a much better stance for Boyd than game number one. Game number one was extremely rough, but you're already up at 80%, and there's a fall down. I don't think there's range. I think that's going to be it. Stock number two gone.
Oh, no. Oh, goodness. We're at zeros each, and now this is championship point unlocked for the Eagles.
Oh,
trying to
him.
do it on Falco. Big bird time, taking down the cat. He's gone hunting, but he is just playing with his prey. 0 to 41. How long can he stay perfect? Eventually, they break the stalemate, but wow, these wings were made for attacking, and they're about to send them home.
Right now, this cat is looking like a kitten. The lion is just barely mewing, and it's going to be a problem as the falcon is ready to strike, plummeting towards the ground, ready to hit their foe, and that just might be it. It is! Eagles reverse the regular split and take the Alaska Championships 3-0.
Fantastic work. Clinical by Antonio. There was a reason they kept him as the anchor. Everyone else just had to do their job. Everyone else just had to simply show up into those first matches, and that's exactly what happened. Congratulations going over to West Anchorage High. The Eagles smash them up, and they will dash them up to be able to be your Alaska School Activities Association Spring Champions. Shout out to the Alaska Anchorage Esports Squad at their, the University of Alaska that was able to help out all these awesome students. But what a 3-0. That's a way to rewrite the regular season script.